Welcome to Cigar City Radio, episode 65. I'm your host, Randy Ojeda, and making the magic happen, a man who's looking a little like Tom Brady these days. Yeah, that's right, Jason.
Yeah.
Look that haircut. It's very Brady-esque.
I was called Macklemore the other day.
Oh, yeah, it is kind of Macklemore-y.
God damn it.
Well, he's Jason Solanas.
Well, Randy, there's a guy with a beard that offered to do my hair. He says he does like regular white boy hair too, but he has a magnificent beard, and I can't imagine him doing anything but that.
Yeah, because beards take a lot of like effort and time.
Dude, and his looks, I don't know if it's like some crazy dye thing that he uses, but it looks like it's just a solid piece. Instead of like literally made of hairs, it looks like he latches that shit onto his face.
It's like one thing
Every day.
Like it's like the whole
Like
beard
the whole
is
beard
one
is
piece.
like if you had a plastic fake beard and you just shoved it onto your face and it stuck on. That's the guy's fucking beard.
We need to get that guy on the podcast.
Yeah, we need to get that guy. You know those
Oh God,
that you can strap on?
Yeah,
I'm sure
yeah.
he can just mold his beard into a
the accommodator, I think is what it's called.
How do you know that, Randy?
just just things I know. I think it was an HQ trivia question the other day.
And now some insight to Randy Ojeda.
Our guests on this episode, live from the 30A Songwriters Festival in Pensacola, Florida, up in the Panhandle, our intern Kasha met up with Lilly Hiatt, the daughter of John Hiatt, and Gary Louris from the Jayhawks for some fun conversations. Kasha, why don't you tell us a little bit about 30A Songwriters Festival? How was that? How was that experience?
I wasn't out much. It was freezing cold.
Okay, freezing cold for Florida, though.
Yeah,
so.
freezing for Floridian. Yes.
Yes.
Everyone was huddled next to like the restaurant heaters. Everyone was trying to keep warm, and I was in a hotel most of the time, so
Okay.
that's about it.
Aside from Lilly Hiatt and Gary Louris, who else did you get to check out at the festival?
I saw the zombies.
Of course.
Yes, and some people I don't remember names.
Kasha, you're supposed to remember all these names.
Don't remember everything. I just was sitting and listening, and yeah.
But it seemed like a pretty cool festival. Like, there was a lot of great artists on the bill.
Yeah, but the problem was Gary Louris and Rhett Miller were like scheduled like at the same time, so I had to
you
choose
make a
one.
Sophie's choice. So you didn't see Rhett Miller?
No, I missed him.
Rhett Miller, come back on the come on the show.
Come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come back here and come on the show.
Come back.
Yeah.
Come to Florida.
But it sounds like you had a pretty fun time over there in Pensacola.
Yes.
Would you go back next year?
Oh, I'll go fun. I'll go. It's fun.
All right. All right. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it again next year. But for now, interviews with Lilly Hiatt and Gary Louris. Check it out. So here it is, episode number 65.
This is Kasha, and we're sitting here with Lilly Hiatt. She had her set this morning and yesterday at the 30A Songwriting Festival. And so, how do you like Florida?
I love Florida, and I wish that I could stay here for 2 more weeks. It's beautiful.
All right, you can stay in my house. I mean,
Okay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you might see me then.
Oh yeah. All right. Also, I mean, this year seems pretty huge for you. I mean, coming up after your Trinity Lane, because that's a pretty big album. I see, because I really got into your music through that album.
Thank you so much for saying that. And yeah, it's awesome to see you and your mom. And yeah, I think you'll be a busy year. Things are growing steadily. So it's good. That's how it's been always for me. So I'm happy to be busy.
There's a lot of things I relate in the album, especially it seems like you've been through a lot personally, and like growing up kind of, and like learning how to love yourself. I think there's a lot of elements.
Yeah, I mean, I just wrote that after a very introspective period of life. So, I used the writing like I always do, like as a way to just kind of unfurl some stuff going on, and also like translate some observations about things about myself, but also about like stuff I'd seen on the road or in my neighborhood. And yeah, so it was a very healing time writing those songs. And that's kind of how and listening to a lot of music too while I was doing it. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, cause you've already had 2 albums. Do you think this album, like, you kind of sorted things out? Like, you kind of found your voice in it?
I hope so. I mean, I feel like I'm always looking to be a better writer. So, I think that will always be an ever evolving thing. But, I do feel like, in this record, I kind of zoned in a little more on how to say things in a little bit of a more upfront fashion, which has always been harder for me in the past. So I don't know if I'll keep doing that or if I'll go back to a ton of abstract stuff or what, but it felt like a very guard down album to me. So
yeah, it's definitely what I felt, and that's my favorite kind of stuff. The honest stuff. Honest stuff is always.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and I'm glad to hear.
I'm kind of like interested because you've been Denver, and like you've been all these places. Like it kind of started slow. Took a while to get your career going. Like, how do you feel? Like, do you feel bad that it took so long?
I don't, because everything that happened has been a necessary step to getting where I'm at. So I've lived a lot of life and definitely put in a lot of work. And I mean, I'm still trying to get my career going. It feels in motion, but it's always, a build. So to a place where you're comfortable. I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm always looking for the next thing. But that being said, I'm trying really hard. Like, it's very important to me to be satisfied with what's at hand, because I mean, it's really all you've got. So it's nice to enjoy what's in front of you.
Were you always like into music? Like, is that something you were 100% on already from early age? Yeah,
it's always been what I've done. So I really don't know how to do anything else very well. So I just have to do this because it's the most fulfilling thing in my life. If I'm not doing that, I'm a very unhappy person. So
I want to talk to you about like Nashville and like kind of going back, home from all those years of traveling and stuff. On stage, you said like a transitional like timing, like it's kind of your little spot of developing, and you're looking for the future and like a bigger picture kind of a meaning.
I think Nashville, I do feel really grounded in Nashville for a multitude of reasons. There are a lot of very hardworking people there. I'm very rooted there because where my family is, where I grew up. And so that's very grounding for me to be around people I love really dearly. Yeah, it's just home, and I've watched it change a billion times, and I've changed a lot with it. And so, and it's just inspiring. People are really giving their everything there. And, I'll fantasize about living other places, like going to New Mexico or living by the ocean, which is a dream. And I hope that, I do some of those things in life. But that being said, like, Nashville is a great base. And I think I'll always, whether I'm there all the time or not, like, that'll be my city. That, it's my city. So,
but I also get that feeling, that music city. And I was wondering, like, do you see like other like famous musicians walking around sometimes? Or
yeah, you do, and you kind of forget that it's a big deal. I mean, unless it's like when it's Jack White, it's like, all right, holy crap, But I mean, they're around. They're just around. I worked at Whole Foods for a really long time, and I saw a lot of famous people come into Whole Foods.
Like who?
Well, one that I was really excited about because he is a teen heartthrob is Jared Leto. He came in there. Steven Tyler, Flea came in there, and unfortunately, I wasn't there when that happened. I would have been really excited to see him. Ted Danson, Don West, I met there. I waited on him. So a lot of really interesting. Robert Plant, it's like what? So.
That's really cool. Yeah. Because like I remember when I was there, I ran into like Wilco and then like Mine Morning Jacket. It's a crazy place. It's crazy. Yeah.
It's amazing. So yeah, Nashville is a very interesting town. Anything can happen there. So
yeah. So now we're talking about like famous people and your song Records. You always say how like Neil Young, you bring up Neil Young in that song. So like what's like a top 5 like favorite kind of music, like your favorite musicians?
Oh, that's so hard on the spot. I have so many favorite musicians. I love Neil Young and I love Pearl Jam. I love my dad. I love Otis Redding. I love Oh, God, I'm sure I'm missing a billion people. I love Lauryn Hill. She is, like, super inspiring. Is that 5 yet?
I think that's a lot more than that, but that's great. All right. Also, and then also you get to, like, play shows with a lot of, like, cool people, too, like old 97s you were playing with, and the Blitz and Trapper. Is there, like, do you kind of fangirl over that or no?
Totally. Those are bands I've listened to for a long time. Seriously, like both of those bands I listened to in college, and I didn't know that we'd get to play together. So it's awesome to become peers with some of your mentors or idols. It's like, whoa, all right. So,
is there any stories you would like to tell us about, like Murray doing something crazy or no?
I'll plead a fifth on all that.
It must be like kind of odd to be like the daughter of like a famous person, and everyone's always kind of like, oh, you're John's, daughter, and everyone kind of puts you in that kind of category. And Jacob Dylan always has that, oh, you're Bob Dylan's son. Yeah. Is that kind of annoying?
I love my dad, so honestly, I love hearing that people love him. It means a lot to me because I know he worked really hard and I think he's amazing. There is like a certain pressure that comes with that from within, I think, more than anything. But it's come from other people too at times. But for the most part, everybody's they just get excited because they love him, and it's nice to see that. So, I'm proud to be his daughter, and I'm proud of what he's done. Sometimes at the merch table, when you've heard for the billionth time, how's your dad? It's like, he's good, how's your dad? But it's sweet. And ultimately, I understand why people bring it up. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad that I got to grow up with a dad that plays music. It's cool,
Definitely different scenario than most people are used to growing up in John Hiatt. So of course, he's a pretty cool guy and such a sweetheart. Yeah,
he's a cool guy. He's a good guy. So and a great writer. So,
so is there anything else that you've got a lot of shows coming up in Europe and all that?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It'll be a nice change of pace going out of the country. So I'm just hoping it's a good year, and any day playing music is a good day to me. So,
all right. Well, thanks for talking to us, and I'm just a big fan of your music, and I appreciate your time.
You are awesome. Thank you so much. You are great, and I'm glad we got a chance to hang out for a little bit.
So that was Kasha talking to Lilly Hiatt. We got Gary Louris coming up next. But before we do, we just want to take a sec to shout out our friends at the Blind Tiger Cafe with locations in Ybor, Seminole Heights, and now a brand new Soho store. It's one of the best coffee shops in town, and owner Roberto Torres has one of the best smiles in town. So go in there, smile at Roberto, and say, hey, we heard about you on Cigar City Radio. So here we go. Coming up next, Gary Louris.
Must be drowning in the ocean of your love. I just jumped in.
All right, so we're here with Gary Louris from the Jayhawks. It's been 3 days of the 30A Songwriter Festival. Have you seen any acts?
Not exactly. I did see, well, that's not true. I saw the Zombies today because they're one of my favorite bands, and I never got to see them, and that was fun. Otherwise, no, I haven't really seen. I peeked in on, like the end of my friend Emerson Hart's set last night, but everybody's playing like at the same time I'm playing, or they're 9 miles away or so. So, no, it's been mostly just playing.
What's 2018 looking like?
Well, I don't know if there'll be some Ray Davis stuff coming. If he tours, we may be playing with him if he comes over here. But he has a great band over there too. So we're releasing a Jayhawks record that we've completed probably in June of this year. It's a record of my co-writes, songs I wrote for other people or with other people. Really for other people, and then a couple new totally just new songs, and that'll come out in June. There'll be very limited touring because I'm just kind of don't like touring anymore. So I think we're trying to move into being more of a recording band, and I'd like to pursue more songwriting and things like that.
Are you gonna like quit performing altogether, or are you just gonna seldom?
Seldom, I think. I've been touring roughly since 1992, and it's time, I think, for me to spend more time at home. And I've been living out in the country with my girlfriend, and that's great. We have two little dogs that we're raising, and I'm learning how to do all those things I always wanted to do, like learn how to run a circular saw, chainsaw, chopping wood, building things, and just spending a lot of time outdoors.
All right. Also, you were saying you're recording a new album, and it seems like Karen's going to be singing some songs. Did you pick that up from like the recording with Ray Davis that he chose her as more?
No, I was really happy for her, and I think she's got a great voice. It's long overdue, but I don't know why it took this long to do it, but it just seemed like it's a little different kind of Jayhawks record. It's not all songs we wrote specifically for this new record. It's it's co-writes, and I don't know, it's just some songs that just seemed like were great for her. Also, the two songs she sings were co-written with a woman or women. There's a Dixie Chicks song. Well, it's actually ended up on a Natalie Maines record called Come Crying to Me. And it was just suited to a female voice. And same with another song that was co-written with a wonderful person who is now escaping my brain. So I'll come back to that. And then there's two songs that our drummer, Tim O'Regan, singing lead vocal. It just felt like this is, I feel a little bit like I'm stepping back a little bit and opening the band up the door a little more widely for the band to write and sing more lead vocals.
Well, I was wondering that Wild Feathers co-write, is that going to be on the new album as well?
Yes, it is. It's one of my favorites, called Backwards Women.
Do you think it's important to like work with younger bands?
I'm not age specific. I'll write with if they're good, I'll write with anybody of any age. But no, it's nice to have the energy of somebody who hasn't maybe been through the business so long they can be a little bit jaded like I can be. But so I try not to drag people down.
Is it kind of like uncomfortable for you to write with different people because you're kind of like introverted and you're kind of songwriting is kind of like a lonely kind of?
That's true in a way, but no, I'm not. I enjoy it because I've met some really great people and made good friends, and it's they're usually somewhat introverted themselves, and it seems to be there seems to be a common bond. So it can be a really, if it works, it's a really beautiful process, because you, within a couple hours, if you might sit down with somebody you didn't know, and by the end of those 2 to 4 hours, you have touched on really heavy subjects, because you're trying to write lyrics that are meaningful, and that I enjoy.
You always say you're a late bloomer, and originally you were studying in college to be an architect, and for a couple years you were how was that weird transitioning to be like a musician?
No, I think I was an architect for a number of years, and I really wasn't in the Jayhawks till I was 30. So that's why I'm older than everybody else in the band, and a lot of my peers are younger than I am. No, there's a common thread between designing, architectural design, and writing a song. I think there's a design concept that's very similar. I tend to write songs I approach writing a song the way that a design architect would design a building, which is usually you get the entire flow of the entire building or the song, and then I come back and tighten things up and get more specific, as opposed to working on the first part and then the second part and the third part. So I think it served me well a bit doing the architecture.
Hey.
There are days I think I should have stayed with it, but I wasn't that particularly good at it.
I mean, because you also have like those kind of, like you always say the grass is always greener, and you always kind of go back and forth with, I don't know if I should have been a songwriter or.
Depends on the day, but I think I made the right decision, because architecture is a tough road to hoe, and you really have to be talented, or you could end up just being, designing things that, or just doing the grunt work. And if I think I was more gifted as an architect, maybe I would look back more fondly and say I should have stuck with it. But I think music comes more naturally to me, and I certainly like singing and playing, and so I think I made the right decision, I hope.
Yes, yes, you did make the best decision. Yeah,
I made more people happy by doing music than if I had been an architect.
And Gary Louris. Was it Gary How do you pronounce his name?
Gary Louris.
Gary Louris.